Iris Finalist isn't out, so technically, I can still do this. Hello, welcome back to the winter ecosystem. And today we have something a little bit different. I am going to be posting this on every single one of my 3 channels. This is something I rarely do. I rarely do double uploads on any day in terms of Reminiscent Industries and Winter Does stuff anymore. And, I mean, I haven't uploaded on Novella VO in a little while, but today we have ourselves DAGAMES and the new Helldivers 2 Open Infinitum track, Last Man Standing. Now, the reason that I'm going to be posting this on all 3 of the channels is because I want to analyze this. We are going to be going deep here, and we are also going to be having a segment after what I'm currently recording. Sorry, I'm currently dying. I've been sick. I've been coming down with something horrible the past 2 days. Open Infinitum has been an odd project so far because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The breadth of quality of this album has been oddly strange. We had Madman, which had the not so great mixing, and that's the other thing. I'm gonna be completely frank with this reaction because honesty is something that I go for. Madman was a catchy song with a weird breakdown that had not great mixing. The Plan had pretty decent mixing across the board, an incredible feature. It was really catchy. I thought it was a great return to form for DA as a project before, you know, things went down. And then Dying to Find a Home was not great. The feature I don't think was utilized very well. The mixing on that track frankly sucked. The vocal mixing especially is a big problem because it effectively wastes Cammy feature. Dying to Find a Home wasn't great. To me, I think it's easily the weakest out of the singles that we've gotten so far. Not to mention that it was originally supposed to be an Arcane song, confirmed in the Discord server, by the way, of the DA stuff. I believe that they said they changed it to an Amazing Digital Circus song because Arcane Season 2 was not relevant anymore. Motherfuckers, Red Dead 2 was almost 10 years ago. Don't give me that not relevant bullshit.
It was for money. At least be honest about it.
In any case, grievances with how things are being managed aside, on every aspect, I did want to check this out because I do feel like it might be cool. I've actually heard from a friend of mine that this song's mixing actually got an upgrade, so that means potentially the album as a whole might overall get a mixing up. And if that's the case, please, because the current mix is not my favorite thing in the world. I feel like there could be a lot more in terms of bass. I think the vocal production could use a complete overhaul, and I feel like just the general sound is a bit too on the bright side. It needs to feel like DA. DA has an inherently warmer, darker kind of feeling tone to its instrumentals, to its vocals, to the general vibe that it has, and it's what attracted a lot of DA fans to DA. Yes, there are lighter tracks in between here or there, with choruses like Build Our Machine and Gospel of Dismay, maybe Cuphead, Brothers in Arms, but things like the classics. Think of the classic DA stuff. You know, Will doesn't like that they're the classics, and Will doesn't like that they're the most viewed or the things that got them relevant, but things like It's Time to Die, I'm the Purple Guy, even Get Out had a darker twist. Left Behind had a darker twist. Break My Mind. That song is easily, I believe, their most popular besides Build Our Machine. And even going to Build Our Machine, that had a dark melodic twist to it. And like the ending and all that happy jazz, Bendy as a franchise is inherently like the lighter veneer combined with the darkness, and it's really what DA has been built on. It's combining this kind of darker internal sound with something that I think is being overshadowed in these songs, and that is Will's natural brighter cadence. Will has such a unique voice, and I feel like the current mixing style is making a lot of his inherent tone, like a lot of his tonalities, it's making them moot in the mix. It just doesn't work. So I'm really hoping that towards the end of the production on this album, they really realize that just this mix, that they've had, I want to say early 2023. Like it began with Heart of an Artist Resurrection stuff, and Why Do We Hold was like the first nail in the coffin, I believe. Or maybe even fucking Are You Proud of Me Now? That actually is where the mix really changed for me. But it's from back then that things really started to change in terms of the mixing for the worse, and it had only gotten worse. I'd say like the middle of 2025 is the worst we got in terms of that mixing. There was very little depth in terms of that sound, and I really want them to change that going forward. And if they want this album to be great, please just reconfigure the mix. Again, I'm going to judge this song by its own merits on its own terms, but that's what I got to say about that, because I've had a very big problem with Will's mixing before, and I've never really put it in a video, I don't think. So, in any case, we're reacting to Last Man Standing, the Helldivers 2 song from Open Infinitum. I think I just want to get into it. So, we're gonna listen to the song. We're again going to analyze things. We have Longest Solo Ever featured on here. Dean is a pretty good musician, so I'm excited to hear what he has to offer. DA features are usually pretty prominent. Will inherently, one thing I can really give him credit for with the features on this album in particular, he's chosen them very well. Each of the features has had a substantial section of the song to themselves, so I'm really interested to see what the feature of Longest Solo Ever brings. If he's going to be doing some guitar parts, some mixing, maybe that'd improve the mix a little bit, or even some vocals, because he has a good voice. In any case, I think we've chatted about this long enough. I think I really just want to get into the actual song. So, let's do it. Longest Solo Ever feature, or DAGAMES featuring Longest Solo Ever, Helldivers 2, Last Man Standing. Let's go. I'm hearing bass. Guest vocalist. Okay, I'm hearing bass. Okay. Okay, so interesting intro. So we have a relatively big opening here. Yeah, we have a relatively big opening in terms of like how big this is in the soundscape. I would prefer it to be a little bit wider. Something that is very present throughout the material that I've been, critiquing, that I've listed there, is the fact that the general scope of what is recorded is very wide, but a lot of it is pretty hyper compressed, and it creates a distinct difference into what the sound should sound like. Will's material over the years has been very compressed, but it's being done in a different way here. A lot of the early era of DA, and I'm going to actually pull up an example here. The example that I want to bring up specifically, yes, we're doing this. Again, we are going all in on this analysis right here, is Retribution. This is a pretty, I would say, let's look at our view count here. Yeah, this is a pretty underserved, oh, hey Dave, how you fucking doing? Love what it do, Dave. His stuff is great. But this is a pretty underserved song in terms of DA material. Less than 1 million views over almost, or going on roughly 9.5 years. Nearing the 10-year anniversary. I fucking adore this song because it begins with this very This is such a wide, atmospheric, spatial opening, and it's what I love about Will's material from back then. It's so spatial, even though there is a lot of compression, as we'll get into as we, you know, there's just so much space in the mix. And then...
What happened down there?
Listen. Yes, there is a lot of compression on everything that is going on here. The drums are so ridiculous. The guitars are... It's insane how much compression there is in this mix. However, what there is space. There is a lot of room for everything to fly. It soars. There's so much power here. And then comparing it to this,
Get ready to fall to...
and even this comparison this is actually a lot more apropos that I'm using this song for this, because listen to this very galloping riff. It's very nearly the same pace. This is very interesting now that I'm using this as a comparison, because there is such a stark difference in sound. Yes, the sound in Open Infinitum is overall cleaner. There is a very there's a thin layer of polish over everything, and Halo Wars 2, like Retribution, and this general era of DA games, I'd say like late 2016 to, I'd say, August of 2017. I believe that's around where Bonds from the Grave came out. It has a very rough, unpolished sound. And that's by design. However, the problem I have here is that even going back to, and I'm going to bring this up, going to something like Vengeance, you have this riff, which is also a very similar pace. And this has the mix of both of the things that I'm talking about. There is a lot going on in the soundscape. There's a lot of space, but it is also very clean. And then you contrast that with this. There is a thinness to the Open Infinitum mixing, and the mixing that has been all throughout 2023 to now that has been inherently lacking. Yes, there is polish over it, and that polish is a remnant from the DOTD material. But there's something missing in the inherent space, and that is one of the core issues that I have with the instrumental mixing. The drums are too thin, they're almost transients in terms of the soundscape. The guitars sound too thin in that space, and then mixed together as transients that the drums seem to be, that creates a thinness. And even though there are layers to the guitars, the compression is doing so much compression that it leaves the sound overall thin. Now, what I will say is that I'm hearing bass, which is a significant upgrade. Woohoo, fucking yay. That was something that was inherently missing from all of Are You Proud of Me Now up until the plan, where I started hearing it again, because the plan had a significant amount of bass, and I was very happy to hear that change, and that I was hoping Infinitum would go with that. However, with Dying to Find a Home, it's like there is bass in the mix, but it comes at the cost of everything else just sounding very thin, and I'm not exactly happy with that. in terms of like the aspects of where we're going with this mix. I just need you guys to understand that I am coming at this from a place of love for what DA has been, what it currently is. I recognize that there are positives in here. Again, I'm complimenting the fact that there's bass again. That's something that I was talking about in mixes for a good while in terms of DA material, and I'm happy that it's back. I'm very, very happy that it is. And I'm happy that apparently, because there was such an outcry, Will genuinely paid attention to that, and he was delivering an addition of bass because there was a significant group of people going like, whoa, where the hell did it go? And that's great. However, there's still things about this mix that need to change. There's still things that need to be taken into question and consideration, because from where we've come from in terms of DA and in terms of Iris, there's a lot that was left behind. In pursuit of progress, there's significant things that have been left behind in pursuit of a new sound or a new style that were just left. And I can't help but think that there's something, yes, there is always good in advancement, in moving forward, in leaving things that were wrong about things behind. You can do that. But if something was inherently good, it's not. It's one of those things where it's a conflict of interest, definitely. But it's something more fundamental than that. You lost something inherently once you gave up that space, and I just this is definitely me hyperfixating. But there's also something genuine here. That is like a critique of musical craft as a concept, not as a personal thing, but as a concept. There's a conceptual net negative in this mix that I can't quite put my finger on, but it's something fundamental. And I hope that my little bits here, not even 36 seconds, I think it was the furthest we got into this, and we're already 15 minutes in. This is a mess, and I do apologize for that. But it's just, I feel so passionately about Will and DA and Iris that I can't help but analyze it this deeply. So, back to the very beginning, and now we're going to look at this with a little bit clearer of an eye. I'm going to take the mix as what it is, talk about it more if I need to, but now I'm just going to be analyzing the song itself as it stands as a whole. So, let me just...
Get ready to fall to...
The drums are kind of going nutty. We start with this. Very similar to Retribution. But right now, listen to... Like right here, it's full on blasts. And Will blast beats have been around for a while, but it's like they haven't been this prevalent in his music before, and I'm really happy that it's... I'm just really happy to hear it. And the filter that's on both of these vocals, there's something with Will's vocal mixing is that all of it is very processed, and I've had that critique before, so I'm not going to overdo it here. But there's something about the filter that's on the clean vocals in the back there. Get ready to drop, get ready to drop, get ready to fall to the ground. There's something about that that's creating a sense of space that I was talking about that was needed. And I'm liking the vibe that it's bringing, so...
Get ready to drop, get ready to fall to the ground. Get ready to drop, get ready to drop, get ready to fall to the ground.
and that's a very like driving, get ready to drop, get ready to drop. Like it's very marchy. It's very anthemic. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very anthemic and epic, and it's really pumping, and like the blast beats along with it, and the way the guitars, like the like it feels like this like very quick rush into battle kind of feeling, and it's very fun, and everything is combining to create a very nice feeling. The drive is here in this song, and it's just, I wish there was more space. So
Get ready to drop, get ready to drop, get ready to fall to the ground. We are but not beginning arms. We have but one whole purpose. We claim the ground we have fought. We load up, we load out. Intercept to swarm the gates and hold.
okay, being a little bit cheeky with those pinch harmonics, and I'm noticing here that he's also using those clean vocals in the back here, but they're very subtle and very buried, but it still helps create that spectrum of vocal sound that's helping the instrumentals stand out. It's very, very interesting what he's doing here.
We claim the ground we have fought. We load out, we load out.
Love it. I really... This is something that I think I've talked about before. I love Will's screams. His lows especially have gotten a huge upgrade in the last few years. He's gotten a lot more guttural, and it's a much fuller sound than he used to have. And even then, in like that 2021 era, it was still like a very full scream, and it's gotten even better. His live performances, I will say, the best thing about this new era of stuff is Will's live performance energy. He holds up so well live. He's impeccable in terms of that. Like, his pitches are on point. His control and just everything about the live performance aspect is great. It's just the studio production that needs a little bit of work. I'm sorry, I know I said I wouldn't mention it too much, but I am. It's just what I do. But in any case, Will's lows are excellent here, and they're very, very full in their sound. Ooh, how did you do that? Okay, how would you... Descend, swarm the gate! Descend to swarm the gates and halls! That's the best I can do right now. That's really difficult. Again, like, the performance aspect of Will's stuff in more recent years is very good. And I think that's something that we can't deny. He's a lot more comfortable in like the general recording aspect of things and like the performance itself. And it's letting him use a lot more complicated, very kind of like prog vocal flow techniques that aren't like in traditional metal and metalcore. There's a lot of like really unique flips and stuff that he's been using over the last couple of years, especially that it's especially relevant because like over the last couple of years he moved into like a proper house, and it's allowed him to genuinely create a studio environment where like this is his space, and it's very like you can feel the familiarity in it with this album, because there are a lot of things that he does here in terms of like experimenting, sorry, like the way I said that was very weird, sorry, but it's like the way he's experimenting with his vocal flows and the vocal stylings, there's a lot of familiarity with it, and I'm loving the fact that there is that familiarity. Like, he's having a lot of fun. There's a lot of just stuff going on in terms of the vocals that I'm not gonna touch on all of it here because this is already absurdly long, and we're not even a minute into the song, not even at the chorus yet. So anyway, That's Dean. Dean is the yellow vocals. Okay. He's a little bit buried, like his tone. Dean, longest solo ever, has a very specific vocal tone, and I don't know if it's being serviced well here. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know if it's a filter that Will is placing. I mean, obviously there are like filters and effects that Will is placing on Dean here, but I don't know if it's serving Dean well. This is something that happened with the last Open Infinitum track, as I was talking about with Cammy Cat's feature on Dying to Find a Home. Cammy is a good choice for a track like that. It's a very like power ballad, and Cammy is good with that. It's just Will's vocal processing doesn't serve Cammy's vocals very well, because Will's vocal production right now is so suited to him. It's the double-edged sword to what I was just talking about. Will is getting so familiar with his voice in terms of the production that the production does not suit anybody but him. And that's a very hard thing to overcome in terms of a mix. That's a very hard thing to kind of grasp with and wrestle with as you're getting into such a comfortable production. And I hope it's something that can be resolved as we go into the final phases of this album. It is said that this album isn't finished yet, and there can be things changed in terms of like the mixing or like how every track flows together. I hope there are some changes in that regard, because it's a bit of a hard sell, because this album is so embedded in collaboration. The collaborations need to be serviced a little bit better, especially like these last two. Maybe we'll get more in terms of like Dean material, but I'm not confident now that I've heard that first bout from him. Yep. That's what I was talking about. This chorus is so big in terms of the soundscape, in terms of the spatiality of it, because there's something on these vocals that's making the sound just go so much wider and so much bigger. But as soon as we fade out, it's a decent chorus, by the way. Instantly, the compression and the thinness sets back in that instrumental. And I feel like in any other track of any other era of DA, or even like any other band, that instrumental would stay at volume, because it's just consistency across a track. I don't know if it's something in the mixing process inherently, or even maybe in the mastering, that's making this instrumental sound as thin as it is. But to me, at least, it is an issue. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, the instrumental, there's so much lost in between the eras of DA. From early 2023 to mid and late. And this little section here proves that. man, that really is the encapsulation of it. That sound thins so harshly right there. That's, oof. It's a good chorus though. I will admit, like that halftime da 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 da, and the melody as I was just humming there, it flows. It's like you're kind of just coasting along. Da 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 da. We're gonna rewind it because I do like this chorus. From the stars we descended, come to ice the landing. Hold the line like match defenders, cast the scars turn to embers. You remember, you may die, but die like you're the last man standing. It's a good chorus. I never really focused on things like leaks or demo tracks, and this was one of those songs where it's like I was okay with it either existing or fading into like demos of Will stuff that was permanently lost, but I do like it. It's last man standing. I'm not very good with vocals right now. Again, I've been sick the last few days. It's just been a bit rough over here, and yeah, that's my voice while I'm sick. It's a good chorus, and again the vocals, oh man, they fill out that space very well with the filters that Will has on. Like it's interesting, like the way the vocal filtering is suited very well here because there's so many layers, but it's not suited for something like singularly layered like Dying to Find a Home, where it's a lot easier to see the imperfections in the vocal processing. Here, there's so many layers, there's so much going on, it just drives, and it drives very well. So I think, yeah, it's just the vocal processing that's the biggest problem in terms of like how I was talking about Will's vocal stuff. But then the instrumental directly has a comparison and a contrast. There are good things about it, like again, bass coming back, but the thinness of the sound is underserved in terms of everything that's going on. So anyway, capitalism. Ooh. Nice. That's a deliberate, like that's not that's a deliberate vibrato, and that's a very powerful Wong. I can't maintain Wong. Like oh man, the way that was done, that was a really good vibrato from Dane. How did he do that? But it's, again, like I'm not someone, I think I'm an okay vocalist. I have a lot to learn. I have a lot left to go in terms of like in any way being able to critique performance in terms of vocals. That blows my mind. That's not something I don't think that can be taught. There's just an inherent ability there. And that was very well done from Dean. One more time and then we'll carry on. This is the teaser audio. Dang! Ooh, are we in? Feel like, because we were in 4-4. Or are we in 3-4? We've changed time signatures. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da, 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 da. I think we've changed from 4-4 to 3-4. And it's a very smooth transition, like the space in the instrumental going into it. That's nice. That's really cool. I like it. Oh my god! Well, what the fuck? Dude, that's not like technique screaming. Dude is just screaming. Listen to this, is visceral vocal. Oh my god, that kind of gives me chills. That's like uncomfortable to listen to. Wow. Dude is going for it. God damn. One more time. Wow. Are we... Ooh! This would hit a lot harder if the drums weren't transients. I hate to rain on the parade because the build-up to that was so good, but just the instrumentals don't work. They don't work with the execution does not befit the vision. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Like, it's such an effective build because his vocals are so fucking intense here. But just then, the drums especially really make it suffer. Yeah, it's just not enough drive. It's not enough pressure on those drums to really make that boom 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 boom. Like there should be that pressure, but it's not felt here. It's really not, and I'm sorry that I'm being such a Nancy about it. It's not. It doesn't serve well enough. Again, the vision of it is really something. There is, like, genuinely, there's something here. This song is one of the best arranged DA tracks that I've heard in a long time. I'd actually say that this is a better arrangement than anything on flash drive SSD. Execution on that album varies greatly, might I add. This is really something. This is like, do I say it? I've said it time and time again. Shot Down by the Mirror is my favorite Will track. But the arrangement on that song is a little bit iffy for me. This might be, like, conceptually, the vision of it. This might be one of the best arranged DA tracks of all time. Because that's why I'm so frustrated with this section in particular. Because I can see it. It's so clear what he was going for. But the production just doesn't... It's not allowed to fully manifest with this production. And it's like, I don't think it's a conscious choice at this point. It's just a de facto result of this production process. The production is a choice, yes, but the arrangement suffering as a result of the production is not inherently a choice. And that's where I'm frustrated, because I know that this is not intended to land flat. This is intended, like, I can hear it. This could be like one of DA's best breakdowns fucking ever. This could be so fucking dope, but the production doesn't allow it. I'm getting really heated up here because, wow, it's frustrating, man. It's really, really frustrating. It's one of those things where it's like you can see this down to the detail. It's so clear. The intent. But the execution does not line up with what was intended. That's frustrating. I can't inherently be mad at that. I don't think I can. Because it's so clear that this was intended to be so much bigger, but it's let down by the production. Intent is let down by programming and execution. And that's a damn shame. But as a concept, this is something huge. This breakdown could have been fucking massive. And for the first, 2 seconds of it, it is. Okay. We're gonna press play and then keep going until the end of the breakdown. Again, talking about Will's lows, they're dumb nowadays. It's really something.
Our dreams run like the river. We will deliver.
Again, the performance. I knew he was gonna pull a bullshit high note. Ooh, the way that's performed. Okay. Wow. The ending is dumb. it's not necessary, but it is like Will's cheeky signature nowadays is like Dom endings. And it's very him. That's what I'm gonna title this. That's what I'm gonna title this. The battle of intention versus execution. Because as intended, this could very well be in like the top 5 DA songs for me. If this was executed as well as it is arranged, and it is arranged extraordinarily well, this could have been one of DA's best of all time. And I'm not fucking kidding. This has so much potential. But it doesn't earn it. Because the execution of the production is so rough. It's so... There's not enough here. Too much was lost in that transition by era. It's frustrating. It is. And you can really feel the difference. There's something missing here. But I think this is the second best of the tracks, because I feel like the plan... Somebody either got hurt or somebody did a bad. Good look out there. In any case, yeah, I think the plan works better than this, because that song really works with this mixing. There's enough happening vocally in terms of like the filters and effects where it doesn't bother me, and the instrumental isn't something like this where it's heavy on arrangement. It's heavy on feeling and vibe and push and pull and flow, that it doesn't need something like this. But this song, in comparison, in contrast, is intended to be like the big, anthemic, epic, bullshit heavy when that breakdown hits. But it doesn't feel that way when it hits because of the instrumental. And it's also the reason why the end, like the bullshit ending of the plan, works, because it is the only time on that track where we get just this bruising bullshit heavy bit. Yeah. I do think that in terms of the singles, this is second best. I would say it's The Plan, this, Madman, Dying to Find a Home. That's my ranking. If you guys want me to check out the rest of the album, I already have plans to do that, but I want to do it just on Evalavio. And not only that, I want to do it as a live stream. Not as any other videos going forward. If there's another single, I probably won't react to it. Hell, to save myself the experience, I probably won't listen to it, because I don't want another Will album where like nearly half the track list is released again, because we've had that over every DA album. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end this off here. We've spent almost an hour talking about a 5-minute track, so I think that is about where we stop from here. So, with all that being said, I've been Winter of the Winter Ecosystem. This is probably going to be the only time that I ever post something on all 3 of the channels as a singular upload. Like, if not this being the only time, it'll also be done with like the Open Infinitum analysis reaction thing that I want to do. But in any case, that's going to be about it for me. If you like what you saw, leave likes, comments, all that happy jazz. Sub if you want to, especially over on Winter Dust Stuff. We just hit YouTube Partner Program. That's going to be about it from me, everybody. Peace in due time. Bye-bye.